it's been about 10 days since I've driven this car, but it's still fired up, which is good. And I thought I'd take it out for a spin. It's running low on petrol. The fuel lights just come on, so I better top that up because it's going in for an MOT tomorrow. So the second MOT that I will have put it through. Now I don't know if you remember the first one. The first one, it went through and there was an advisory of the front brake pipes that had surface corrosion, but they had grease on them. So someone had previously done something to prevent it getting any worse. Now I haven't had them replaced, which is a bit naughty of me. So I'm going to take it for an MOT. And since the last MOT, it's had 2 new coolant bottles. So recently I just had a new one fitted, Jack fitted it, and it was a Porsche OEM one. So it cost like, I don't know, £500 or something, £400. So that's gone in. I hope that's fixed the problem. He also took the back bumper off and reconnected properly the rear number plate lights, so that shouldn't be a problem. Also the little mudguard thing that was cracked, he also put that back, a replacement one because it was cracked, so which is good, all good things. But yeah, the MOT is a little bit, I mean, I always worry, even if it's a brand new car. My wife's 2017 Golf went in for an MOT, for its first MOT, and I thought, oh, I wonder what's going to come up, and obviously nothing did, no advisories, nothing. But that's what's going on with this car, which is not a lot really. So I'm just taking it out for a spin today to put petrol in it and make sure it's going to start up tomorrow when I have to take it for an MOT. So yeah, not a lot happening. It's running pretty well, touch wood. And I still, every now and again, I know it hasn't been for about 10 days, but every now and again I do like to just go out for a drive, because there's not many cars that I've owned in recent years, apart from my MG, that I would just jump in and just say, I'm just going for a drive. Obviously I would have with my 912 if it worked, which it doesn't, so which leads me nicely onto what's going on with the 912. Now, obviously you've seen the previous video where it's at home now, and on the drive home and the first proper drive I had, I got to know it a bit better. Now the thing to bear in mind is that at this point, at the point of the last drive, I hadn't actually opened the hood to look at it. I hadn't properly looked the car over. I just got it home, jumped in and went for a drive and videoed it. Now, a load of things came up, which you've seen. The biggest one being it doesn't start very well, the battery doesn't charge very well, it idles at about 2,500 revs, and it makes, under load, it makes a knocking noise, even though it doesn't when it's at 2,500 revs idling, which is a bit weird. So I've had a chance to think about and look around it, and so the charging thing, I think, is the earth strap, or the terminal that goes from the earth battery kit connected to the body, was corroded quite badly and only hand tightened, and there was a washer between it and the body which was really badly corroded, so I just bought a new earth strap, and I sanded off the body, cleaned up the terminal, put a new washer in, bolted that back on, which is great. I've charged up the battery, but I've not put it back in yet. There's a connector at the other end of the frunk hood where the battery is, the opposite end. There's another earth, clean that up. I've taken the distributor points out because I want to get electronic ignition. Now that arrived today, so I've gone for a Power Spark K19, which should just slot straight in, and I'll have to do the timing, because one of the things that I noticed was that the distributor was actually loose. So when I went to undo the screw that was holding the points in, the whole distributor spun. Yes. So the timing's out. I've bought myself a timing gun. So I'll do that for the first time. I've never done that before, and I'll have to because of the way the electronic ignition is, I'll have to advance it a bit. Also, one of the reasons it might have been idling so high as well was that the vacuum advance, all these new things I'm learning, and Google is brilliant and YouTube, but the vacuum advance where the rotor you can spin and it springs back was stuck in the advanced position. So lots of WD-40, GT85, whatever, and oil down the spindle bit to loosen that up. So I'll free that up. Brilliant. I've got new struts for the hood, the rear hood and the front one. Now the front one, I've got two new ones, put them both on, and every time I go under the hood I'm kind of looking, thinking, is that holding it? Is it going to fall? Because the hood is really heavy. Whereas the back one is the opposite. I pull the little lever and it flicks up just by itself, which I like to think is kind of like an automatic mode. I know I've probably got the wrong strut, or the hood is probably aluminium or something like that, so I'm just going to leave that because I like it. Also the hook, the one that you pull to open the deck lid, that I've replaced that, 20 quid off eBay. So that's on as well. What was the other thing I've done? Oh yes, so the noise that I was worried about, the knocking kind of noise that when you're under load. Just the other day I went and had a look and I thought, do you know what, I just noticed some bolts missing from the tinware, and it kind of, when I just put my finger on it, it clangs against the other piece, and I'm starting to think, is that what's rattling when I put my foot down? So I need to find some bolts that fit, because there's sort of captive bolts in there. But not only that, they don't quite line up. When I line up one bolt, the other one doesn't. So I'm going to line up one of them that's got the captive bolt in, and I'm going to fix that and then see how that is. I also checked over the bit of rust that I thought existed in the the little smuggler's hatch cubby hole thing at the bottom. I thought that was quite rusted to hell, but I cleaned it up yesterday, and it's actually not that bad. I just need to it doesn't have any holes in it that I can see. I suspect someone's done something to it underneath, I don't know what, but it doesn't seem to have any holes. So I think I just need to put some rust-proof paint at the bottom, because it looks like it's had water in it, which has created surface rust. And so I've just cleaned that up, and I've just got to paint it with some rust-proof paint, black paint, and that'll be great. Interior-wise, I'm still searching for seat belts. There's no anchor points or anything like that fitted in the car, which is a bit rubbish. So no, not anchor points, sorry, the hooks or bolts or anything, but I believe that if you buy a set, they should all come with it. But I can't seem to find a set that I can buy over here. They're all in the US. People have told me about particular companies that might be able to do it, but it's just huge amounts of money, whereas I do know of some people who've just gone, I'm just going to buy a set of seatbelts that I know work out of a more modern car and just put those in. And you just think, why didn't I do that? For my MG, I bought a set of seatbelts, brand new, that were a bit more generic, and they cost 60 quid. But brand new, fitted those, and they work like a dream, past the MOT. So I'm thinking, I don't know what to do. It hasn't got the rear seats, so I need to think about the clearance when the seat comes down. But if the reel is bolted at the bottom and the hook is at the top, because I know there is an anchor point at the bottom, again there's no bolt there, but if I could do that, then surely that would work, and I'd have 3-point retractable seat belts. So if anybody knows of anything, just let me know. Also, I should have said right at the beginning that I wanted to thank all the people who've subscribed in the last couple of months, which has been about sort of over 100 people, and all the people who've been messaging me, who've on Instagram, on YouTube, the people who've just recently bought cars and they're on a similar kind of journey. It's really great to hear from those people. and hopefully we can sort of exchange ideas, learnings, that kind of stuff. So anyway, the seatbelts, I'm still working on that. I think that's a bit of a priority, because when I get it going, I want to start using it. Today would have been a perfect day to drive it, but I only got the seatbelts today. I've only got half an hour to get out because I've got conference calls and stuff for work. And then, so I'm hoping to have seatbelts soon. I've bought some other stuff as well. I've bought a coil, a Viper coil. So the electronic ignition that I've gone for, Power Spark, I bought it off a website, simonbbc.com, I think it's called. And I only went for that one. I haven't done any particular research related to Porsche 912, because it's the same brand that I put in my MG, and it just transformed the way it drove. I went from thinking, am I really enjoying driving this, to, oh my God, this is amazing. So I've done that. I've bought the coil that goes with it from them. The total cost was about £75. I think that might include delivery. It might be like £68 and then delivery on top. So I'm going to put that in. I'm quite excited about getting that in and firing the car up. I'm still a bit worried about that there might be a fuel smell, because when I first got it home, there was a smell of fuel from the car. And I live in a townhouse, so the garage is integral, it's below the lounge. And oh my God, the stink of fuel throughout the house. I thought, what am I going to do? It was like the first day. And then I went and had a look, and I could see a bit of dampness around the carburetors. And I kept every hour or so opening the garage to let kind of fresh air in and let the fumes out. But then I went round with a cloth and tried to go look exactly where the leak might be. I saw a couple of sort of fiber washers, bolts with fiber washers, where there was dampness, and I just tightened those kind of like less than a quarter of a turn, and it seems to have stopped. The smell was gone that day, but I don't know if that's coincided with just it evaporating. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed for when I actually fire it up that I don't have a fuel leak or a drip, because there's not a drop of it on the floor, not a drop of it anywhere around the engine, on the tinware or anything like that. So I need to just be aware of that.